So the black capitalists continue to black capitalist, and the myth of buying power continues to get redistributed, and with the exact same flaws I've been attempting to point out in terms of the methodology. So let's take a quick look at one of the latest editions or latest episodes of the myth of black buying power.
I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.
What's up, world? Welcome back to another edition of I Mix What I Like right here at I Mix What I Like. Please like, share, subscribe, check our Patreon. All the links are in the show description. Let's go. This first example was sent me from T. Adams. So shout out to you, T. I appreciate you. And for the follow-up, because when they sent me the initial email, even before I got the Google alert about this story, alerting me to it, I said, hey, feel free to let them know about my work. And T did. And the author wrote back and said, I'll explore the links to Dr. Ball's work. So we'll see. But in the meantime, we can at least start here with the story itself. This is the story in question from Word in Black, Harnessing the Economic Power of the Black Community by James Bridgeworth. So Professor Bridgeworth, I do hope you check my work, and I would love to hear from you. If you do, let me know what you think. As is the case with those watching this video, drop a comment. So because of the way this shows up in the background, I'm just going to quickly get to the highlighted portions that demonstrate the point I'm making about the flaws in the methodology, and then we can move on. The argument here is not that much different about the potential of Black entrepreneurialism to drive the Black community in ways that we are just not taking advantage of. So first and foremost, as you can see underneath a link advertising more learning and financial wellness through financial literacy, which when Erica Brown's work on that comes out and we talk more about that, we'll see. But as we've already discussed, financial literacy is just simply an extension of colonial rule. But the short of it here, in terms of Professor Bridgeworth's opinion piece, it says just the same thing. According to a report by Nielsen, Black consumers collectively have a buying power projected to reach $1.8 trillion by the end of 2024. There's no link to the Nielsen study. There's no reference. So there's no investigation of the claim or how Nielsen puts it together. And that's why I did the work that I did to show Nielsen's flawed methodology, the conclusions they reach, similar to what they also have used as a source, the Selig Center, and so on. So, but this is just a repeating flaw, a reference to Nielsen and nothing else. And then a little bit later in the opinion piece, just following again from that flawed analytical base, Professor Bridgeworth can then conclude, today, Black entrepreneurs continue to launch on enterprises at a higher rate than the national average, contributing to economic diversity and resilience. Investments in education and skills development further amplify the economic impact of African Americans. As I explore my work, we talk a little bit, and we've done it here many times and on Black Liberation Media many times. The ability to develop businesses does not equate to even an increased capture of the national sales revenue. And it certainly doesn't mean that there is survivability in those businesses or that any wealth can be developed by those businesses that can be distributed to benefit the community. Now, this story from just the other day, perfect for a Black August celebration. And this is why it's important that we be reminded of what Black August actually is and what it's there to represent, the struggle it represents, one of which is a vigorous condemnation of Black capitalism as any form of solution that would benefit the Black community. But yet here we have, of course, reported in the Black Radical publication, Forbes magazine, another example of where even the elite white publications, clutch pearls, even they fall into the same analytical traps and flaws and problems. We would hope for the benefit of their own readership that this is only when it pertains to the conditions of Black people and Black economics. We would expect that when it comes to the broader white world, the illustrious Forbes magazine wouldn't be making such errors. But nonetheless, in this story from Doug Melville, diversities at a turning point, and Martha's Vineyard is the epicenter. I won't prolong and bore us with this story, but it is just a praise song for the Black bourgeoisie who are gathering with their friends and colleagues to develop marketing and ad and nonprofit revenue generating mechanisms that will, under the banner of making a claim to benefit the Black community in the world, through their cultural leadership and and I didn't even take too much time to get into it, but the A16Z, the A16Z, the Anderson Horowitz Foundation, and its endless amount. Maybe we'll get into it on EYL on Black Liberation Media this Friday. But the short of it is, it is diversity through the inclusion of maybe a handful at best Black people who are putting together the funding for the and who are managing the enormous budgets and resources of the A16Z Foundation. But just for my purposes here, the short of it is, and you can see the Anderson Horowitz Cultural Leadership Fund. If you click this, I mean, it's just wild. But as we see here with Cory Booker pictured here as part of the gathering, by 2045, America will be by 2045, America will be majority people of color, and those on the island know it. It is estimated that Black American spending power sits between $1.4 and $1.8 trillion annually, an economic bloc that's comparable to the gross domestic product of Mexico, Canada, and Italy. Again, that is another part of the mythology that I help destroy in my work that continues to get purported. It is not the same. It is not GDP, and GDP does not demonstrate or clarify the inequality within a community. And if you add Latinos' purchasing power, which in the US reached 3.4 trillion in 2021, and Asian Americans with 1.3 trillion in buying power, that's totals at least $6 trillion of spending power. And just quickly as a reminder of who is benefiting from all of this, the class of folk benefiting from all of this. As it says here, Massachusetts was the first state to abolish slavery, and since the 1800s, Martha's Vineyard and Inkwell Beach has been a renowned getaway for Black families, for Black freedom and Black expression. Over time, it has become the summer getaway for former President Barack Obama, former Attorney General Eric Holder, Henry Louis Gates Jr., and the late Vernon Jordan. Maya Angelou once described the town of Oak Bluffs as a safe place where we can go as we are and not be questioned. And with all due respect, I think the we specifically there is a particular class of Black folks who can go there and not be questioned, not only by a white supremacist community, society, but can also avoid question from the broader Black community. And certainly any radical community or critique. But again, quickly coming back to the real point of what this video is meant to point out, just again and highlight, is that if you click this link here, we can quickly trace a devolving methodological approach to an analysis that continues to permeate incorrectly so many spaces targeting Black communities and others who might have some concern for the economic condition of Black people. So the link in that Forbes story, you click it, you go to this story from Blavity of May of last year, The Power of the Black Community, How Brands Can Tap into $1.4 trillion in Buying Power. Continue on a little bit in the story, right away it tells you in recent years, the buying power of the Black community has risen significantly. According to a 2020 report via CNBC, Black buying power was $1.4 trillion in 2019, and it's projected to grow to $1.8 trillion by 2024. All right, so we see Forbes from just a few days ago reference a story from last year in Blavity, which references a story from CNBC, all making this claim. Open up the story in CNBC and you see, as Black buying power grows, racial profiling by retailers remains persistent problem. So even in a story about persistent racism against Black consumers, they're still promoting this idea that Black buying power, which is meant to mean some sort of Black economic power, is increasing. And then if you keep reading through the story, you get sort of a double whammy, so to speak, of this flawed methodology. The problem, so much of where the problem of this myth and its circulation comes from. Black buying power was $1.4 trillion in 2019, according to the Selig Center for Economic Growth. Ding, 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 ding.
Message.
That's higher than the gross domestic product of Mexico. It's projected to grow to $1.8 trillion by 2024. Make it the trifecta of the mythology as they continue to promote this myth about the GDP comparison. That growth is outpacing white buying power. Between 2000 and 2018, black buying power rose 114% compared to an 89% increase in white buying power, according to Nielsen.
Message.
From CNBC to Blavity to Forbes, and likely to your favorite pundit, financial literacy guru, and beyond, the myth just regurgitates. No one checks the initial claims made in the reports cited, or they don't link to the reports themselves. And then they miss the fact that what they're reading is marketing and advertising material that has nothing to do with the actual economic condition of Black people. And then they're promoting it to their audiences, to their ad buyers. And then it unfortunately becomes the flawed economic analysis of so many, even well-wishers and good people trying to help Black people and others figure our way out of this madness. Like, share, subscribe, follow the links in the show description for more. Again, many thanks for joining me over here. Peace if you're willing to fight for it, like Fred Hampton used to say, and I'll catch you next time right here at
I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.